Oh, is this too early?
Oh, right.
No, that's okay.
Okay. From leatherbacks to loggerheads, you know you have a sea turtle situation on your hands. Good morning, my name is Michelle O'Hara. I interned under Penny Ravelas at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, more commonly known as NOAA, as a marine biologist. And today, I'll be giving you a turtle talk. A first question you may be asking is, why sea turtles? I'm going to tell you that there are 7 different species of sea turtle, and 6 out of those 7 are on the endangered species list. We want to preserve these species and this animal for many years to come. They are a keystone species, and we don't want to destroy the environment and the ecosystems that they live in. There are 4 different places or pieces of equipment that you're going to want to use when you're trying to capture or tag a sea turtle. The first place you're going to want to look is a place that has a high population of eelgrass. Eelgrass is a long, thin, waxy green type of seaweed. Eelgrass is also a popular breeding ground for jellyfish. Jellyfish and eelgrass are the 2 most eaten foods of sea turtles, so therefore many sea turtles are found in populations that have a high concentration of eelgrass. And the next place you're going to want to look are females that are nesting on beaches. The green sea turtles, which is what I work with, females of the green sea turtle species will come up onto the beach 4 to 7 times a year and lay up to 120 ping pong ball sized eggs. It is very easy to capture or tag a sea turtle while it is on the beach because they are very slow animals. Nextly is warm water. Generally, when you're thinking of warm water, you're going to be having the mindset of maybe islands like the Hawaiian Islands or the Caribbean or even off the coast of Mexico. But this is from my internship. This is the San Gabriel River down in Long Beach. There's a nuclear power plant that is over here, and it lets out lots of clean, warm water, so the sea turtles tend to flock towards this area. Strike nets are one of the pieces of equipment that is pretty much pertinent to catching a sea turtle. This is me tending the strike nets at the internship. A strike net is about 50 feet long. The first line is lined with buoys, so it is a buoyant piece. And down here is done with a lead weight, so it stands up like this vertically through the water. It has an opaque fishing line ran through the middle of it to try and capture the sea turtle if at all possible. It is important to check the strike nets every 30 minutes because you don't want to drown the animal. Usually you can tell when an animal is captured in your net because the buoys will be bobbing up and down, and that's the purpose for them. But it's better to be safe than sorry. You do not want to hurt any of the animals that are in the environment. There are 4 main types of tracking devices. First is a pop-up satellite tracker, otherwise called a PSAT device. It is about $3,800 each. These are used on cartilaginous fishes like sharks or rays or skates. They look like this. People are deeming it as inhumane and also very expensive, so they're trying to steer away from this. Nextly is tagging. When you're going to be tagging a sea turtle, you're going to place a metal or plastic tag through the front 2 fins. Each tag will have an individualized serial number on it, and so when it comes up onto the beach, you are supposed to have somebody or anybody that sees the sea turtle read the numbers off the tag and upload it to a website to show that this turtle did make an appearance, it is still alive, and it has gone to this place in the world. They're trying to steer away from this because not everybody knows where to put the information that they find or whether to check the tags if it has it or not. It's the cheapest means. It's 25 to 75 cents each. And nextly is a harness. A harness is this device. It's kind of like a backpack, and it has a tracker on the top. They're $8,000 through the Wildlife Organization. They're trying to steer away from this because it is expensive, but it is pertinent for leatherback sea turtles. Leatherback sea turtles can be 7 feet long and can be up to 9,000 pounds. They're massive animals, and their shell is kind of like a fleshy material, like the palm of your hand. So sanding one down would not be very good for the animal.
How is that attached, please?
Huh?
It looks invasive to his body. How is that attached?
It's like a backpack, so it straps under him through the fins, so he has full movement of his body. It goes to the back like this. It's only on the top.
Okay. Thank you.
This is an Argos tracker. Argos trackers are the ones that they use at the NOAA facility, which I interned at. Argos trackers are 3 to 5% of the animal that is tracked weight. They can withstand up to 8,200 feet of water pressure. They transmit at a 401.65 megahertz a second, which does not interfere with the sonar of any of the other animals in the sea. They cost between $500 and $4,000. Usually, depending on the sickness of the animal or the severity of the project, they might be more expensive. They track things like temperature, depth, and where it's going. The ones that they used while I was at the internship were $612. When I say Argos tracker, you probably don't know what Argos is, but Argos is a satellite-based location and data collection system that is dedicated to monitoring and protecting the environment. It was formed in 1978 by NOAA, NASA, and CNES. NASA contributed the satellites, NOAA contributed the data with the sea animals, and CNES funded it. They have over 22,000 receptors in over 100 different countries, and they have tagged over 8,000 different species of animals. This is Archie, the harbor seal. He was the first animal that was tagged with an Argos tracker. Okay. George is the name of the sea turtle that we pulled out of the San Gabriel River, mostly because my mentor's young son, he's 6 years old, he demanded that it would be named George no matter what we pulled out of the river. All right. When you pick up a sea turtle, they're going to be bigger than this and heavier, but this is just for a demonstration. You're going to put your fingers or thumbs behind the fins of the sea turtle because they do have spikes on the front of their fins, and they'll flail and try and lacerate you, and you don't want that. Put your hands firmly underneath the shell of the turtle to keep the least amount of stress on the animal. Next, you're going to take a wet or cold washcloth and put it over the eyes of the animal, again, to reduce stress on it. It doesn't want to be seeing this, or else it could make itself very sick. You're going to continue with a standard health check. Health checks include taking a blood sample from the sinus, which is in the back of its neck. The back of the neck shows no pain when it is prodded with the, with the syringe. It also takes a skin sample. Pictures of any abnormal adhesions or abrasions that are on the animal, such as cuts or bites or scarring, even leeches that attach to the animal, and the weight of the animal. Nextly, you're going to take a sandpaper patch and rub down a piece of the shell to make it a flat surface. Make sure the algae is removed from the shell or any other invasive parasites, to make it a flat surface to make sure that the tracker will stick for the time it's supposed to. Next, you take the tracking device, put a putty on the underside of it, and attach it to the area that you've designated for the shell. Lay over fiberglass tape strips on it and apply either neoprene silicone attachment fluid or a resin, and let it dry for 30 minutes before releasing the animal back into the wild. This is George when we pulled him right onto our boat. And this is George when we were doing a standard health check. And this is doing the weight check. George was 240 pounds when, on average, green sea turtles tend to be 80 pounds. So he was a very massive creature, and we had to do this for the weight. We applied a spring weight or scale to a bar and put a rope around each of his fins to make sure that his weight is evenly distributed, to make sure that it is an accurate weight, and to provide the least amount of stress on the animal. This is Daniel. He was actually filming a documentary when we were there. The tracking device that he has in his hands was given to him by Chris Lowe. He works in Chris Lowe's Shark Lab. You might know Chris Lowe as the man who runs Shark Week. He does all the productions, and he's in every single one of the documentaries that they show on Shark Week. And hopefully one day I can work in his Shark Lab as well. This is the putty being applied onto the shell of the animal and to the tracking device. As you can see where we put the sandpaper, there's no algae growing onto it. And this is us applying the resin and the fiberglass tape to the top of the tracking device. After we completed our work with George, my mentor and I took a picture, and we were very happy and excited because field work is debatable and it doesn't always work, and we were happy to get one this day. Lastly, you just wait for it. 220-day samples are typically taken with Argos trackers. After that, they will float to the surface. You run the data and share it with scientists across the world. Make sure that their turtles are still alive or whether they've moved, and to see how the populations are growing. This is something that I find myself very passionate about. I believe that kids or animals or even just good people deserve good things in life. I know in my heart that this is protecting the environment and the species, and I really want to continue this and see this as my career. Thank you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to do so now or contact me on my website.
I have a comment.
Yes.
I do have a couple of questions only because I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to read what I wrote.
All right. Thank you.
Do you know, or do they know exactly how far these turtles travel, or do they pretty much stay in the same area?
They actually go all across the world. Usually they're along the equatorial line because it's warmer water, and they can move all the way across the globe in less than a year.
So are there a lot of people worldwide that when these trackers come off, they can get the information?
Mm-hmm. Like,
how do they find it? By radar, or how does
well,
it work?
they're like a GPS kind of
Okay.
in it. So it tracks, it sends to the Argos satellite where it is, and there's 22,000 places that are keeping track of these devices. So they'll go out and retrieve them. And it's kind of like a recycling thing.
So this turtle, excuse me, one more question. This turtle likes a warmer water, but they have to go through, they search after they get out of there for more warm water, or they go where the warm water is, or?
Generally, they're going to flock towards the warmer water, or like if it's getting cold, like in January, they're going to try and go towards the equator more because,
Thank you.
and the sea turtles are reptiles, so they are cold-blooded, so that's why they're looking for warm water.
Michelle, okay, so I would like to compliment you, and I'd like to say, start out with a good personality, grab my attention, and show passion. So when you admitted that you were passionate about this project, I grabbed that from you in the first 30 seconds. So that really came across, and I want to congratulate you on that. You showed expert knowledge, and actually I'm jealous of what you got to experience. I think it's incredible. Okay, I missed it. How did you get to do this experience? How did you connect to the people involved with this?
My neighbor, her name is Maria Harris. She used to work in the NOAA building with Penny Ravellas, but so I take care of her cats and her plants when she's out of town, and she's like, "You're really good with the animals and stuff." And I said, "Well, yes." And I told her about how I was in the CIBACS program, and I told her how I'd be interested in marine biology. She gives me books all the time from the aquarium. She's like, "So you're doing an internship? I can get you an internship. I can get you an in at NOAA."
Wow.
And I emailed her, and they let me into the building. As soon as I got into the building, I went to take a picture to prove I was there, which in hindsight, this was a really bad idea because 3 security guards took my phone and my backpack, put it through an x-ray machine, and patted me down because I then found out that it's in the same building as the IRS, and they didn't want me to take pictures of the layout because they thought I was going to bomb the place.
Oh. So were you allowed? So you're only allowed to take pictures outside?
Yes.
And okay, they thought you were okay. Got it. So in the San Gabriel River stretch of water, how many turtles did you bring up that day? Just George?
I actually went there 3 times, and we only caught 1 sea turtle the whole time, and we were there since like noon to 5 each time.
So you were there 3 days, and then how many hours would you say is in this project for you?
Like with my mentor, in person with my mentor.
PowerPoint, which was excellent, mentor, conversations, months, weeks, hours.
Well, with my mentor, I spent 14.5 hours, but on my website, I looked through my website history and it said I'd spent over 30 hours trying to do all the coding on my website.
Michelle, I think that your presentation was amazing, definitely deserving of a round of applause.
Thank you.
You showed an excellent demonstration of knowledge. You clearly are passionate about that, and I even wrote it down again before you mentioned it, so it's very
We're always
clear.
on the same page,
It's very clear that you're very passionate about this. I looked through your website briefly while you were speaking, and it's an amazing website. You obviously spent those 30 hours very well. It's fascinating what you got to do. It's incredible that you were able to have such a great experience out of this project.
I feel like I just watched a Jacques Cousteau thing or
I
something.
know, I thought I watched a Discovery Channel or something. It's really, it was great. Your demonstration was fantastic. I had a lot of the questions that they already answered, so I just have another question. Were you able to get, you personally able to see any of the readings back from George?
They said it's classified information and it can only be sent to the actual website, so I wasn't allowed to look at it.
That makes sense.
Sorry.
But no, definitely kudos. You did wonderful.
Thank you.
Tell me how many years do you have to go to become a marine biologist?
You only need a bachelor's degree in science before
really?
they hire you at NOAA.
I have a question. Why is it that you only tagged green sea turtles? Is that the ones only in this region?
Those were the ones that were in the river. Usually, the bigger the sea turtle gets, it's gonna be closer to the equator. So, like the leatherback sea turtles are the biggest ones, they're most massive, so they're literally directly found on the equator. Cape Ridley sea turtles are found in the Hawaiian Islands only, and so these are the ones that are closer to us.
When you say river, you talking about the riverbed?
San Gabriel.
The San Gabriel River.
How did you haul like a 200-pound turtle? You showed us very cutesy-like how to get under their armpits, but I'm talking 200 pounds.
Yeah.
My husband weighs 200 and some pounds, so how did you manage that? How many people?
He was tangled in the strike nets, so it took 4 scientists to pull him up onto the boat, and then once we got him situated, we put it in Yukon's lap. He's one of the scientists that was with us, and he was holding it like I showed you with the thumbs, but he couldn't hold his hands under it because it was a massive version of an animal.
Sure. Wow. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.